Have you ever wondered how to launch a product on Amazon FBA? Well, in this video, we're going to break down exactly how we plan to launch this product on Amazon. Welcome back to FBA Unfiltered. If you're new here, my name is Taylor. I'm an Amazon seller. I've been selling on the platform since 2023. I'm joined by Rami, who's been on the platform since 2017, and together we have partnered to launch this new product on Amazon FBA. So let's get into this video and break down our exact launch strategy for new products on Amazon. All right, FBA Unfiltered crew, thanks for joining us once again. I am Taylor. I'm here with Rami. Rami, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Taylor. Let's get rocking and rolling. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how we're setting up our new Amazon product for success in regards to the launch. Today, we're going to be discussing how we're actually doing our own launch strategy and some of the basics that you should incorporate for your own product's launch. So a strong launch is going to be incorporating a couple of things, right? It's going to be boosting your product's initial rankings on Amazon. And one thing that a lot of people don't put enough emphasis into is getting sales right off the bat, the second it goes live. Like that same day, you really want to make sure that you're building a bunch of momentum because that's just going to show Amazon that, hey, this is a product that people actually want on their platform, and they're possibly even going to their platform to purchase it. I've seen that Amazon will start pushing those products relatively quickly.
You see this as well, that Amazon will actually incentivize sellers to be bringing that traffic to Amazon. Even if it's to buy their particular product, Amazon really appreciates when a new seller is bringing traffic to their platform because it's going to increase sales across their whole platform. They're going to make more money. So Amazon will compensate you a little bit. They'll take a couple percentage points off the normal 15% referral fee that they charge because they know you're bringing that traffic to Amazon and they appreciate that. So they're definitely like that you have a product that comes out of the gate strong and you're bringing customers to the platform.
And you obviously want to make as much money as you can from your first product order so you can hopefully try and make it a much easier process for you to place your second order that's hopefully larger. One thing I want to note too that a lot of people forget is that everybody that you know, and I'm not saying you should try and just sell your product away to all your family and friends, but at the end of the day, everybody that you know can be a lead. If you are creating a good product, you should push this out the second it's live. Like try and build some momentum just through your own friends and family. Because again, if you're building a product that you are proud of, they should hopefully want to support you in that. So some pre-launch preparation that you want to focus on. Definitely a bunch of competitor research. You want to look at what your competitors are doing and especially focus on the ones that are just completely rocking it. I like to, and Taylor, you may remember this, we actually talked about this a good amount when you were just being first coached by me, is that you want to find that inverse relationship. And what I mean by that, simply speaking, I think it's a lot easier to speak to it in regards to like social media. We see it all the time when you see someone with a 10,000 following on social media, but they're getting 100,000, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of views. So you have that inverse relationship. And you also see it the opposite way where someone has 10 million followers, but they're only getting 1,000 views, right? It can be same way you can look at it in regards to Amazon. You can find listings with 10,000 reviews, but 100 sales a month. And then you might find listings that have 5 reviews and they're getting 1,000 sales a month. You want to look for those areas in your regards to your competitors that have that inverse relationship because you know that you should be able to do the same thing. So optimizing your listing is obviously another part of that, right? You want to make sure that you're incorporating the best images in comparison to what you see people are purchasing your product for, and look at it as a sales strategy, right? It should be feature benefit. Every single slide on your listing in regards to your photos should have a feature and then a benefit as to why your product is better than the competitors. And then building awareness is another huge part. If you are posting on your socials, if you are building your own website, if you are creating Facebook groups, if you are pushing people before the product's even live to your pages, it builds a lot of hype. And again, even though it might not yield thousands of sales right off the bat, just getting your initial group of sales is very important and might give you that little bit of an edge that your competitors may not be doing.
And a couple things that Rami mentioned that I want to emphasize are understanding the keywords that are relevant to your product and making sure that those are featured in your not only your product title but your bullet points as well and your keywords on your listing. So that's important. And then what Rami said as well, this focus on the benefits in your bullet points. It's really
Yeah.
important. That's a good sales strategy. Instead of just listing off dozens and dozens of features in your bullet points, take advantage of the extra text space to actually write some ad copy. And
Yep.
that just means basically understanding the psychological triggers that prompt people to buy. And most of it have to do with the benefits of the product, not just explaining what the product is. Talk about the emotions that are going to be along with that product purchase, or the ideal outcomes that the customer is going to experience because they purchased the product, not just details about the product itself.
We've all seen those listings and images that just threw like a bunch of feature and benefits onto one slide, like one photo. And the problem with that is, and I know we discussed this in the previous videos, but most Amazon customers are purchasing on their phone, right? So that means the image is much smaller than it would be on a computer, for example. So you want that feature benefit to be big, bold, in their face, and attacks the reason why someone would purchase your product over the competition. So now that we're actually going to be moving into the launch, this is another important aspect. And actually, I want to give a caveat to this because I don't see enough people understanding this portion. And I believe, Taylor, you and I may have talked about this, but you'll see from time to time people posting in larger Amazon Facebook groups saying, my product just launched. Here's my listing, leave me a review or whatever. But something to keep in mind that when you first launch your product on Amazon, especially when you first launch it, Amazon is paying attention to all that data. So if you have a bunch of people clicking onto your listing who aren't buyers, it's actually going to negatively affect your listing's performance. Because if you actually go into your sales reports and into your data, you can see how many people click on your listing and then either leave it or click through to purchase your product. So if you're having a bunch of people coming to your product listing and they're just like other Amazon sellers who are trying to see what you're doing, probably not the best thing to do, which is something, to be frank, that Taylor and I have to be, wary of because we're being very public with what we're doing in regards to our product. And I'm sure once it's live, we're going to get a bunch of clicks to the listing that people may not purchase, but we're confident in our ability to get sales. So we're not too concerned about that. But that is something I wanted to bring up in this slide because you do not want that to, affect your launch.
A ton of those people are going to go to your listing, and almost none of them are your actual customer base. None of them are your
Right.
customer avatar. So that all these people are going to go to your listing, click on it, and not buy it. And Amazon is going to get a signal essentially saying, hey, there's something wrong with this listing. Everyone wants to click on it, but no one wants to buy it. So we're gonna down rank this. We're gonna lower it in the algorithm. That's one reason why people don't normally do what we're doing here. So we hope you guys appreciate this. We're kind of going out on a limb to show you guys the product before it goes live.
Amazon pay-per-click campaigns are a tried and true method. You definitely want to incorporate them. People who don't run ads on Amazon, I kind of, they're probably just not putting in the time and the effort it takes to make a profitable campaign. It does take time. It's not going to happen right away, especially if you're in a competitive niche, but it's still very possible and very profitable. This is where Taylor and I maybe, I don't know if we disagree on, but maybe we can, I'd love to wrap on this. I do think you should have at least one 5-star review on your product before you really start running ads. Focus on getting that first 5-star review, hopefully. And once you have it, then you start running campaigns and trying to gather as much keyword information that you can get. This is another thing that you can do to kind of, help that launch like really, really skyrocket, is actually running a discount to start. So to give you an example, this is a method that I've seen work really, really well. Is if you're going to be launching your product at $39.99, you do your initial launch at $19.99 and slowly ramp up that price up to the $39.99 mark over the course of 30 days, for example. So obviously you're offering a very, very good price point to early buyers. And then over time, they actually see that the price did increase. So that is a tried and true method I've seen work really well too. I'll be frank, it's not a method that I typically ascribe to. I typically like to get reviews, run some ads, and do a variety of different user generated content to get traffic to the listing. That is a method I typically like to do, but that is another option I see a lot of people work with. Generating reviews, there are a couple of ways to do this, and you just want to make sure that you're staying in the compliance way of things. So number one is follow up with customers through Amazon's request a review button. There are a couple of ways to do that. You can do that through software such as Helium 10 and Jungle Scout. Another thing that you can do is just manually go into your order section. Once it's been beyond, I believe, 2 days from the ship date, you can actually click the request a review button where Amazon will send an email to the customer for leaving honest feedback. You can also include inserts into your product packaging, like a little square insert that requests feedback. Now, you want to be careful in this. You don't want to incentivize a 5-star review. You can also do it in a setting of, you could, especially if you're having any traffic to your non-Amazon branded websites. It could be a really, really good way to, give some sort of added benefit or honest feedback that they can submit. You can actually reach out to them and give them whatever that benefit is. But genuine reviews do build social proof, and the more you can get of that, the better. And you'll notice some of the biggest and best brands use reviews to run their video ad campaigns. That's actually typically what I've seen do the best, especially in our space, Taylor, like in the supplement space. Seeing honest user generated feedback and reviews that are posted like on TikTok, they'll download those videos and then run video ads to them.
One thing I will say about the Amazon PPC campaigns is I do think it's important, just like Rami said, to have a few reviews before you go heavy on your ad spend. Now, even that said, though, I don't want to discourage people from running these ad campaigns early because you want to be gathering data. That's really kind of with your first couple ad campaigns or your first maybe 30 days or so of running ads, you're really just trying to find the profitable keywords that you'll double down on as you optimize your listings. And this is a whole kind of science in and of itself. And one of the great things, I'm just going to do a shameless plug, but one of the great things that we offer with our coaching program is we don't just take people to their launch. We actually follow up and we continue coaching people through the next several months after their product goes live because Rami is a specialist when it comes to Amazon advertising. And so we help create your first ad campaign. We help optimize that campaign so that you can learn how this works because it is an essential component of the process of getting your product selling well. In terms of pricing and discounts, is I typically like to do the anchor pricing that we talked about in the previous video. And this is all tied into the first getting the first couple reviews as well, is tell your friends and family about it, about the product offered at the ideal price that you want to sell it for, the higher price point. Tell them about it, get them to buy it, get them to leave reviews. Now, again, you can't incentivize these reviews. We'll go over in detail some caveats about friends and family, but get some purchases at the higher price point, get some reviews, then drop the price as a sale and it'll have a strike through price on it and it'll say 10% off, 15% off, whatever the discount is that you're offering, and that can really encourage those new customers coming onto the listing in the first 30 days to make that purchase. So I think that's an important strategy as well.
And now we can start moving into a little bit more detail, which is in regards to reviews. Because this is kind of obvious, but I'll stress this initially, is that when it comes to Amazon listings and why people buy, the most two important things are reviews and photography, right? So obviously with them being the most important thing, you really got to pay attention to them and do the most that you can do that's within your power and within terms of service to get more reviews. So let's go through the Amazon approved methods. So number one is going to be the Amazon Vine program. Essentially, the Amazon Vine program is great. It can get you up to 30 reviews, but the Vine program really only works if your product is for the general public. So if your product is a niche, you probably shouldn't run the Vine program. So like, for example, one of my top two clients, I'm helping her build out a Montessori school product, right? Well, it's a brand. We already have 3 or 4 products in the brand already. But it's a very high-end product line. The average consumer who gets it will definitely think it's high quality and great, but probably overpriced. But that's because they're not our customer avatar. Majority of people who have their children in Montessori school programs have a net worth of over $500,000, right? So with that said, we're targeting a very specific group of people. So something like the Vine program might not work because we're ascribing to the general public. And again, that's not the niche that we're going for. So to put a cap on it, the Vine program's great, but pay attention to who your product is meant for And if it's a niche of a niche, the Vine program probably isn't the best option for you. So then what you would move to is the request a review button. You can automate it with something like Helium 10. I actually recommend Helium 10 like in general, but definitely over Jungle Scout, as Taylor and I discussed during this our discussion before this call, is that with Jungle Scout, you actually still have to manually click the automatic review button, while with Helium 10, they'll just do it in the background 24/7. So very important to do that. And I would highly recommend people to do so. Even if it doesn't cause like a ginormous increase of reviews, any extra reviews you can get for a few dollars is worth it. In regards to the next step, which we discussed a little bit, is in using insert cards to your products. Now, you don't want to offer incentives. And then the next thing is obviously social media and emailing people. Anytime you can get your own leads to purchase your product, you definitely want to ask them to give you a review, like no doubt. You have access to that content. Why wouldn't you?
I personally do like to use insert cards whenever possible. Just the fact that you can now basically make a QR code that will take people directly to the review for your particular product. It's just another way to get that review request right in front of their face and make it super easy. All they got to do is take out their phone, scan the QR code, and boom, that they're right to the leave a review page and they can leave their review. So it's just keeping it top of mind for the customer. That
Yep.
in and of itself, I think, is a benefit. Even just the basic of making it very easy and accessible for someone to leave a review right when they get that first impression of the product. Because if you've done your job right, they should be excited and happy to have your product, and it should have a good first impression. And you want to capitalize on that in the moment and get them to leave that review.
The biggest cheat code, in my opinion, with QR codes is that you can connect it to a link tree that you can constantly update, right? So that link tree can have, here's where you leave us a review, or cheat code, bring you to your exact website, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So it's a really, really big thing in regards to, in my opinion, using a link tree. You can connect all your social medias, you can connect obviously your own website, and then a place to where they can like leave a review. Riskier methods, which is against the terms of service. But we're mentioning this because a lot of people are doing it. That's just truth. And at the end of the day, Amazon's algorithm doesn't catch everybody. But if you're watching this video, you're trying to do this for the long term. You will eventually get caught if you're breaking these terms of service constantly, right? It may not happen the first time, may not happen the 100th time, but it'll eventually happen. So you want to stick away from it, but you need to be knowledgeable on what you can and can't do. So, for example, Amazon strictly prohibits incentivized. Now, in regards to getting your friends to purchase your product, that's something they prohibit as well. If the following things aren't happening, right? Same IP address. So if they're leaving a review from the same Wi-Fi that you use, not a good look. And then for sure, if you have any way of your Amazon accounts being linked, like for example, if your brother uses your Amazon account to purchase products at times, and then has another Amazon Prime account that him and his wife share, and then they leave a review like through his wife's account, that will be a big red flag. So you want to be very mindful that the people that you're getting to actually leave reviews for you, if you're just posting it to your friend group, that you are actually, making sure you're mindful of those three things. You're at risk of having your reviews removed and your account being suspended. But what will happen is your whole listing will be removed. I've seen that happen many times when reviews get flagged, your entire listing will be removed. You definitely want to stay away from this. It happens. People get flagged for this all the time, and you want to be cautious. So now, next points, which is kind of what we've been saying, right? Do not offer any discounts, refunds, freebies in exchange for 5-star reviews. And definitely do not manipulate reviews through fake purchases or review groups, especially review groups. I am stressing this. I see too many people still using review groups. That's the easiest way to get flagged. People in review groups, they're constantly leaving reviews for other Amazon sellers who are probably not abiding by terms of service. And Amazon will make those connections. So if they see someone who's left a review for an Amazon seller that doesn't follow terms of service, they're going to track that person who left a review because they're assuming that it's also a fake review. What I would recommend instead is you following those approved methods, and then, using your own friends and family and peers to actually purchase your product, and not incentivize them to leave a review, but you just posting and they want to support you, they'll likely leave you a review.
Guys, we don't want to scare anybody away. It's just we got to tell you this information because it can happen, and you just have to use your best judgment. Okay, we're trying to teach people how to sell on Amazon long term and build actual brands and build actual businesses. And so if that's your strategy, it's just not worth it to get these cheap, quick wins in the beginning. Be in it for the long term, do it right, and your results will compound and you'll be way better off in the long term.
And then just a couple of things in regards to post launch, right? You constantly want to be split testing. Honestly, if you are not split testing every week from launch, it tells me that you're probably not taking this that seriously. There is always some way you can split test your products, your brands, your website, your photography, your listing copy. There's so much you can be split testing. Your price, you want to be split testing every single week. And you can only change one thing at a time. So obviously, if you have 52 changes that you want to test on a product listing, well, guess what? You literally have a year's worth of split tests to be running. So I know I skipped over number one and I just jumped right into number two, but I think it's honestly, in my opinion, the most important because you can start your products with like your starting foundation can be here, but your potential can be all the way up here if you're actually paying attention and running split tests and focusing on what actually benefits your customers are giving you.
And sorry to interrupt, but I just got to tell you guys again that if you're looking into getting coaching or online courses related to how to sell on Amazon and they're not offering this kind of feedback after your product goes live, I really don't think that's the move in today's environment on Amazon. This is an ongoing process of constant improvement, and this is really where I think a lot of quote unquote Amazon gurus will do you dirty is they just get you until your product's live and then you're left to your own. And there's so much experience and so much wisdom that comes after the product launch that you want to take advantage of, that I really do encourage you to find those programs that offer some ongoing coaching and mentorship after the product launch.
What matters is what you have to do after the product's launch to actually make yourself successful and understanding how long you're probably going to have to churn your money until you can actually start taking money out of the business. Monitor your performance. At the end of the day, you need to make data driven decisions. You're not going to be able to do that without monitoring what's going on and paying attention to what's happening on a day to day landscape. And then obviously scaling your efforts, right? So making sure that as your ad spend grows, your sales grows, keep the momentum happening, making sure that you're building a real process to scaling your effort, whether if that's using social media, whether if that's running paid ads on different platforms such as Meta or Google, whether if that's like organic from you just posting on your own social medias and making maybe like blog posts, so many different ways. And that's another thing you split test to see what actually makes a difference.
When you have a product that you can include a product insert, one technique that I've done, and I don't believe that this, I haven't been flagged, and I don't believe that this violates any rules or terms of service, but I actually like to include, if it's feasible, a free gift. So my
Yeah.
product arrives, there's no like there's nothing on the listing or in the images that would indicate that they're getting this little freebie, right? And so they open the package, they get the product, and they get this free gift. And the idea is that they're like, whoa, sweet. I got this little free bonus. That's cool. And then I have a little package insert that just says, hey, thank you so much for your purchase. We really appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. In fact, that here's a free gift. We hope you enjoy it. Hey, by the way, if you like the product, please leave us a review. It really helps us out. Here's the QR code, right? And the idea is that this is a little bit of a psychological trick where it's called reciprocity, and essentially they feel like they owe you one because they got
Yeah.
this freebie and they're like, whoa, how can I make it up to them? Oh, here's how. I'll leave this review. And so I feel like that is kind of what I strive for. Again, when it's feasible, not every product is feasible to include in the packaging another free item. Sometimes it's just cost prohibitive. Sometimes it just doesn't really fit with the product type. So this is on a case by case basis, but that is one strategy that I have had success with and that I do encourage people to look into.
You want to truly build a community as soon as you can for your product and your brand. If your product and brand are truly unique to the market, you want to get as much eyeballs onto your brand as quickly as possible, right? Don't wait until after your product's selling, after it's doing well. to make a Facebook page or make a community, or make a school page for it. You never know. Like there's so many different ways you can go about it, but trying to build a real, group and community around your brand is very important and something I would recommend getting on as soon as possible. Because even if you have only just a couple hundred people there, you never know. Word of mouth goes a very long way. So if you can get those couple of hundred to refer a couple hundred, and those referred couple hundred referred a couple hundred, it goes a very long way.
Reciprocity even comes in that regard as well.
Yeah.
I've even, if again, picking up on the Alex Hormozy thing, he's been telling a story now for a while where he came across a client who I think they only had like a few thousand followers on Instagram, but they
Yeah.
do like a
Yeah.
few $1 million in sales every year just from this super niche group. And one of the reasons why is because they just share so much. They give
They
so
run
much
no
value. They
She
give
runs no paid ads
Yeah,
too.
yeah, no paid ads,
Yeah.
and she just gives
Yeah.
her small community so much value that they're so fired up on what she's doing that they go and they're outstanding customers for her. So that
Yeah.
also ties in. If you're able to give people value as well as bring them along for the journey, people love it. And so you don't need to be an influencer, you don't need to be a social media like czar or whiz kid. Just get it out there, let a few people see it, take care of those people, give them value, and they'll support you back. It's a really powerful way, especially for the launch, to get those first few customers rolling in when it's of crucial importance.
I apologize for the length of video, guys. I know Taylor and I have both been trying to work on that, but honestly, there's just so much to go over in every single section that we're talking about here. So please leave your feedback, your comments down below. We take it to heart, and we'll see you in the next video.
That's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please leave a like. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out when our product goes live, because we're going to be breaking down our week by week sales numbers. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.